Brett Burns. He's live. Now we're going to need that camera right now. Make sure you're live.
I'm live. I'm live. I'm live.
Ish. I'm heartbroken, Jono. Heartbroken. Ish. Please give me a countdown. Welcome to Omni Rugby. The Northwest University Eagles and Tuks have gone back-to-back in the 2026 F&B Varsity Cup. The Sharks, what a disappointing performance at Ellis Park, and I find myself in a little bit of trouble. And then there's some rumors brewing in the New Zealand All Black camp as to who will be the new head coach. As we know, Razor was let go and they're looking for a replacement heading into the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Omni Rugby is the place to be. You and I get to talk about every single bit of rugby action that we saw in the last week, whether it's Varsity Cup, whether it's the URC, or some speculations that are brewing across the world of rugby. As always, I'm not alone. I'm joined by Brett Burns, rugby's know-it-all, and the man is back. Jonathan Mokoena smiling from ear to ear. He had somewhat of a break last week, and you weren't here.
Whoa. Before we
big deal.
Before we get on to me, you guys, I missed this at the episode last week.
Yes.
So please settle what needs to be settled before we go on. Aaron, you man up, do your thing.
Brett Burns, what was the prediction? Let's start there. For those of us that didn't see what happened last week, this might be your first episode of Omni Rugby. So I want Brett Burns to explain what happened.
He's softening it
and
up.
then, no, hang on. You know, on this show, we're all about accountability. I will take full accountability for what I say. I just want him to explain it.
Okay, so previous weeks I had 2 wrong predictions. But what you guys just failed to remember is that the 40 before that I got right.
Oh, I can't remember that.
40.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last game, I guess.
And when I saw the Sharks team and I saw the Lions team, I was full confidence that the Lions are beating the Sharks. The JP Peterson was announced as head coach, and he made wrong squad selections. So I just knew, it's a payday. And when you came with this puny little 100 Rand bet, I knew it's time to get paid.
And?
All right, gentlemen.
Okay, here we go. Big moment.
The camera focuses on me as I take out
moment.
the cash. Here it is. I'll count it sober on screen. Let's go.
Look at that.
Right. Here it is. That's 1. That's 2.
All right, okay.
That's 3. That's 4. That's 5.
Yes, that smile is fading. That smile is fading.
That's 7. That's 8. That's 9. That's 10.
That smile just faded.
Brett Burns.
Beautiful.
The one thing I can tell you is I don't like people who don't honor bets.
True.
So I had to be that person, even though it's incredibly painful, that gives you your 1,000 Rand in clean, hard cash, straight from the ATM this morning. Here you go.
I love it. Thank you. Let's shake on that. Love it.
I must say, you started off with a broad smile, and then as you started counting, your smile doesn't replenish.
John acts hard here. I'm
I
heartbroken.
can see.
But all is well. Brett Burns, are you happy?
I'm happy because you know what made me even happier when I watched the video back, because I reposted it on everything.
I had my own friends saying, like, is this you in this Brett Burns video? And I'm like, hey.
Well, hopefully now you must repost so that your friends can say, well done.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
You see.
Yes, but the laughter, the 1,000 Rand.
And he even knocked on his chest. I remember that.
But bear with me here.
Yeah.
Like, the Sharks had gone back-to-back against the Stormers.
Yeah.
And I was excited. JP Peterson, the new head coach. I'm like, come on.
But one thing Brett said was that I think team selection was a bit of an issue. But at the same time, I think it was at the wrong time for the Springboks to rest certain players. Because I think that is what actually forced JP's hand. Not I think he wasn't trying to create squad depth. I think the timing of the Springboks having to rest was actually not working for him.
Yeah.
And then the Lions, of course, they wanted to prove a point.
Yeah.
And they did. They were good. They were good on the day.
Yeah, all pun intended now. But a wounded lion is a very dangerous lion, and that in nature and in rugby.
Yeah.
Same thing. So I just knew that this is going to be a demolishing. Yeah.
Talking about a wounded lion, they now find themselves 7th on the URC standings. And we know what happened last season. So close, but yet so far, just missing out on the playoff spots. We've spoken a lot about Cash Van Roy and this Lions outfit, the fact that they don't have a lot of fans in the stands. Is things slowly but surely changing in the Lions setup, Red Burns, since you backed them so much last week? Or is this just a matter of luck?
I won't say it's luck, but I will say that they aren't quite where they need to be like serious title contenders, but definitely playoff contenders. But my issue wasn't with how strong the Lions are going to be. My issue was with how weak the Sharks were going to be. So it wasn't emphasis on the Lions, it was emphasis on the Sharks.
For you, Coach Jono, I mean, that post there at the Sharks is something that we were campaigning for on Omni Rugby. We believe that you were the man for the job. Heading into this one, there was excitement brewing. JP Peterson being announced as the new head coach. And for me, at least in my opinion, well-deserved, because he had that interim spell where he got big results, especially against the Stormers, who were unbeaten in the competition at the time. For you, when you saw that big announcement, were you smiling from ear to ear? Were you excited? And what change can JP bring to the Sharks outfit? Because we have been complaining a lot about this team. Lots of money on the table, lots of investment, Springbok players, but the results simply weren't coming.
I was really happy when I saw JP's name there. And for the pure reason, the fact that he's actually one of those players that his junior rugby played at the Sharks. Senior rugby played at the Sharks. When he retired, he went back to the Sharks. And there's not a lot of players, a lot of coaches that actually start coaching at the highest level at the same union that you played the rugby for. Let's look at the Lions, not Cash. Look at Aki's. Aki's traveled in between. Look at the Stormers, Dobbo being part of the system but never played, for province, Portugal, that type of vibe. So I was really, really happy and proud of him to see that. Because remember, last year in the Currie Cup, everyone, well, not everyone, but the public said JP's not good enough to coach. Even though the Sharks team actually struggled, and everyone was crucifying him. But this time around, same guy, same coach, just winning the hearts of the players. And I think that's one thing he really does well, is having the ability to win the hearts and giving them alignment and ensuring that they perform to the best of their abilities. If you look at the post-match interviews, which I've had the privilege of really doing a few times with JP, he always says that the big thing is he wants to bring pride back. He wants the players, the group to feel for the group, to feel for the jersey, and I think they got that right the last few weeks. What happened last week, he'll take it on the chin. He'll take it personal. But it's also part of coaching. You're not going to walk in and think every single match you're going to just, rampage every single team that you come up against. What I'm even more impressed about is the Sharks creating a little bit more stability, bringing in a guy like Rory Duncan from the Sharks, from the Cheetahs to come and be chief of operations at the Sharks. Scott Matty. He's been traveling around. He's now coming in as a tech coach at the Sharks. So they're ensuring that, JP has the best opportunity for success by bringing in strong leaders around him. I still say they must allow JP to have the final say and the first and the final say. Yeah. Because, again, it's no use you appointing him, but you want to pull strings behind him and say, you can't do this, you can't do this. I ultimately say that any coach should have the final say whether he's going to fall in short or not. It's going to be unfair of the public, of everyone, to expect results from him, but in the background we kind of, playing Mickey Mouse or puppet with him. I think that's going to be the secret.
Talking about that point, I know that you've also mentioned it quite a few times on the show, that even Coach Rassi talks about it, that if you are head coach, you have to have full control of the team. Yep. They currently find themselves 10th on the log standings. And in my mind, I'm wondering, what can we actually expect from this Lions outfit? Because the start of their season wasn't that great, but slowly but surely things are turning around. In my mind, I expect them to at least make the playoffs. Like that should be a given. But we also know that at some point at the start of the season, they were like 14th at the bottom of the standings. Brett Burns, in your mind, what are you expecting from this Sharks outfit who didn't have the right selection this weekend? Can they go on possibly into the knockout stages? Maybe a final? What are you expecting?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to play knockouts. It's just I don't think they have the squad depth that they think they do. Because if they like their first choice player is brilliant. Like we saw it against Stormers 2 weeks in a row. It's brilliant. It's not like it hurt me to say that, but then you bring on their bench or you swap out players and it all of a sudden looks like they were when they were losing with their great players. So I think squad depth is going to cost them at the end of the day. But other than that, I think they'll at least make a playoff, maybe a semi-final. But I don't think anything more than that.
Yeah, and this is where they've got to be. They've got to plan smart because yes, they've got the Springboks, but the Springboks we all know must be rested. They must be managed. They must be available for Springboks. This is where they've got to think a little bit outside the box. Maybe go and look overseas for players who wants to come back home. You know, that's maybe over the Springbok dream, but can still operate. Because I think, again, you look at a guy like Corneille Rao versus Eben Etzebeth. The quality there, on your point, it's just two different players. Corneille is a good player, but it's not Eben yet. So maybe go get someone that Corneille can still learn from. Fill that gap from. And then, when Eben is gone, that next player steps in. But then if the popo hits the fan, there's a bailout as well. Same with 9, same with 10. I think, they could maybe even look at I'm not sure Francois Venter is the guy for them.
I agree.
He's okay, but he's not shooting the lights out. I mean, he missed a few tackles, doesn't create enough for the wingers. So maybe just maybe have like a back page team, where they have some players that they maybe would like to have, and then try and push those and get those players as much as you want. Because for example, a guy like Vincent Koch, I can't see him being back in the Springbok setup, but the value he adds to the Sharks, phenomenal.
I actually want to add to that. That's kind of the point of this under-23 competition that's going to start now. It's to create, and people often say, or people have been saying, what about why isn't there Griquas and a Pumas and these things? It's because
Cheetahs.
this is to create depth for the URC teams, and I think as soon as that comes in, we're going to see improvement from like the Sharks or a Lions side that don't necessarily have all the squad depth that they have. Because now they will, and the players will be match fit, match ready, and stuff like that. So I think that's a brilliant competition coming up. But I am concerned that currently, with all the money and resources that the Sharks have, that they don't have that squad depth.
Two big South African derbies lie ahead this weekend in the URC. Let's start off with the first game that will be played at Ellis Park. The Lions, they're smiling from ear to ear. They had a short break. They secured a victory against the Sharks. But now they're taking on the Stormers, who come off of 2 back-to-back defeats to the Sharks. Brett Burns, which team are you backing in this one? And can we see any more surprises? Because at this point, I think people like I, who used to disrespect the Lions, now we have to sit back and we have to be very, very careful about what we say about the Lions.
I say place a bet. That's all.
Hey, this man wants to damage me. Hey, this man wants to damage me. Hey, Brett Burns, what are you expecting in this encounter?
Okay, so where the Lions will have the upper hand on the Stormers is this game from this weekend. They would have learned a lot from their previous loss at the Bulls, and now this very convincing win against the Sharks, and they're at home. So they're going to, everything that they failed to learn from the Bulls game, they did from the Sharks game, they're going to put that together, and it's going to be a very clinical performance. I hate to say this, but the Stormers might have the upper hand with the backs, but then the Lions forwards, I think, might have the upper hand. At altitude, I'm not too confident as a Stormers fan. I'm not saying the Stormers are going to lose, However,
Tread carefully. We
Yeah.
are listening.
yes, I do think it's going to be a closer game than everybody would want it to be. And as a Stormers fan, it pains me to say that I think that statistically the Lions might have the upper hand.
So you're saying, so you're saying the Lions might win?
They might, they might not lose.
Okay, fair enough. I hear you.
I
I
feel
hear
like
you.
I feel a bet.
So counter.
a bet coming. No. Coach Jono, big encounter this one for the Stormers. Coach Dobbo, he would have had the break to just have a few weeks to realign his squad, maybe work on a few things. For the Stormers heading into this one, we know what happened with the Sharks in Cape Town and in Durban. What are you expecting from the Stormers? Because they want to get back on that winning train.
It's going to be a difficult one for them, off the bat. It's going to be a difficult one coming up to Ellis Park because they're coming up against a team that last week, the tails up. They somehow found a way to get the tails up. One biggest thing also, what I would have loved to have if someone maybe get us the team sheets before we do the show, because I think that's also going to come down. I think from a Lions perspective, they'll probably have the most consecutive team, very close to the team that played last week. For the Stormers, I'm not sure which team they will come up with.
Sounds like you're doubting them a little bit.
I am.
Is there a sense of doubt?
I am, but only because I don't know what team they're gonna select. Again, Galant is not playing great rugby.
Sure.
But who else do you select at 15?
Yo.
I don't have another option.
Just
Yeah.
because,
I'll leave for Mark.
The other question is, who do you select at 10? Shasha,
I mean,
Yuri Mattia is good enough.
well, if Sasha is fit, Sasha will play at 10.
But
Damien?
also the box have to rest.
the box have to rest.
Ish,
Look, they
good
have been
point.
resting.
Good point.
Could it be that this week is out of that resting period? Then it will count in their favor. If it's not, different story. Hence, I'm saying if the Stormers manage to get all the players,
Yeah.
then I would go with the Stormers. But if they don't, I'm going to stick with the Lions because then the Lions is going to be a difficult nut to crack.
Yeah, I was thinking now what I'm looking forward to is Etienne Oosthuizen in the lock position. He's looking good.
Yes.
He's a bit overweight, but yet it works for him.
Yeah.
And I've watched him now for 3-4 weeks. He's actually on good form. But Ruan Venter at the Lions, very deadly player. But we have Evan Ruas that at altitude, he always does well. He did well at Loftus. He did well at Ellis Park last year. I think that with him always wanting to prove a point, the loose trio on both games is going to be something to watch, especially Paul de Villiers. Watch that guy. Oh, my goodness. Future Bach.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And then also the front row. Again, depending on who the Stormers select, I'm happy with Nedling for sure. Happy with Andre Huguventer. It's on the loose that I'm not convinced with. Cable, not the answer.
No.
Not the answer for me at loose head, even at tight head. I think that's one area where the Stormers don't have someone that can actually at least calm them from penalties, put the tight end under pressure. Because remember, they're coming up against Asenate and Slabakane. Chief. Yeah, no, he only knows one way, and that's forward.
Fact.
So,
Fact.
that's going to be interesting.
Gentlemen, as we know, with Sports Pesa, we definitely want to make it count. Brett Burns, he made a little bit of money, but we want to help everyone out there. We want to help you make some money off of this game. Lions taking on the Stormers at Ellis Park. Gents, I want a winning margin. And once you've given me the winning margin, I will tell you guys how much money is on offer. Firstly, you need to tell me which team you think is going to win. We know that he's settled with his bets, one last week. Coach Jono, let's start with you. Lions versus Stormers. Where are we going? And points difference.
If the Lions perform like they did last week, Lions by 15.
Lions by 15. Coach Jono.
How much would I have made?
That's a big payday because according to the Sport Pesa app, if you go with Coach Jono, The home team winning by 14 or plus points, meaning you're saying 15.
Yeah.
It means that if you put down 100 rand, the odds are 22, meaning that you can make 2,200 rand.
I'll say bottom is the money, bro.
Double this.
Big money, big money. Brett Burns, a man who apparently has a unbeaten record, of 40 plus when it comes to betting on the show. Lions versus Stormers at Ellis Park. Who's winning and by how much?
One thing we failed to mention also, Ruben van Heerden is going to France. Leaving the Stormers, going to France.
Oh.
Saw it yesterday, actually. And I actually rate him as a lock. I do think that if the Stormers make the right selections, I think I'm going Stormers by 2.
Stormers by 2. All right. The away team winning by 1 to 7 points, according to Sport Pesa, gives you 3.75. Meaning that if you put down 100 rand, borrow a little bit of money from Brett Burns, put down 100 rand, you'll make 375 rand. Gents, let's move on to another game. Loftus Versfeld. The Bulls, they've got their tails up. The last time I recall, they beat the Lions before the season break.
Annihilated the Lions.
Right? Where are we going here? Before we get into the betting side of things, the Sharks, they're a little bit bruised after being defeated by the Lions at Ellis Park. They're heading out to Loftus. Bulls have got their tails up a little bit. What are you seeing in this game, Brett Burns? Where will this game be won or lost?
Well, JP finally gets to select the team that he wanted to against the Lions. Springboks will be back. That's their 3-week break. So I think he'll have a strong enough side. But throughout history, it's very difficult to win at Loftus.
Yeah.
Like a Bulls team could be a terrible Bulls team, and they still find a way at Loftus. It's become a fortress. So I don't think the Sharks can beat the Bulls at Loftus. I think if it was in Durban, different story. But no, I'm going Sharks to win this one. Sorry, Bulls to. Sorry, I'm going Bulls to beat the Sharks on this one.
Coach Jonna, Johan Ackerman, a man who was brought in beginning of the season. Jake White out, he's in. Is this maybe the turnaround that we are seeing? We spoke about belief throughout, let's say that Jan period. We said that they had dipped in terms of their belief, but slowly but surely, key players like Henry Pollard, not necessarily at his best, but slowly but surely regaining his form.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from the Bulls specifically at Loftus Versfeld against the Sharks?
They will be better. They will be better. And again, I think it's going to be a tough day at the office with the Sharks. The Bulls forwards, the way they took the Lions to the cleaners a few weeks back, being physical. Marcel Coetzee, great on the defense. Turnovers, he was brilliant. So I foresee a long day for the Sharks tomorrow.
Are you foreseeing a loss or a long day?
No, a loss. They will.
Hectic.
I'm going to go with the Bulls. And on your point, it's at Loftus. Boys, in the old days, even when they played that die blauwolf rit van die grond af nie.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I played in those days.
Yes.
If they start playing that,
Yes.
dun,
Take me back to my childhood, baby. Let's go.
Gee, I promise you, then you know, because they come running down that tunnel as if they possessed.
Yes.
And I'm seeing signs of that slowly but surely coming back at Loftus, even at Ellis Park, where they actually showed, because they were phenomenal, they were physical.
Yeah.
And the previous weeks, it was something that they missed.
Yeah.
Being physical and giving. Look at that try that Andre scored. Forwards picking, pick and go, momentum, getting tight. Andre showing, try time. And that's where Andre is dangerous. I think the Bulls will be pretty much of the same tomorrow.
I'd like to bring in a football comparison.
Okay,
right?
do it. We are
When we talk about Loftus, there's another team that often plays there, Mamelodi Sundowns. A lot of footballers will tell you that they've got great players, but a bad coach.
Wow.
I would like to make a rugby comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Is Johan Ackerman a great coach? We know his CV. He's a phenomenal coach. But the fact that he's got such quality players, is that helping him at this point in time?
You still, as a leader, of the organization or a company must give vision and direction. I don't care who you are. You can be how bad as technically or tactically, but if you can't give that to your organization collapses.
Thanks.
And I think that's one thing what that Ackerman is doing really. And great leaders does that. And Ackerman for me is one of those. Every coach is not great at every single facet of the game.
Yeah.
You know, but where you weaken this side, you got to strengthen yourself on the other side. And we could see it when the previous coaches was there under him. They left him to hang out and dry. That's why I had to make the change. And a lot of times you'll look at the halftime, or when the team scores against you, or when you scoring, how the coaching staff happens or reacts in the management box. You know, previously I saw them disarray. They didn't really connect with him. This management team, they back his vision. High fives, and it's kissing, and it's hugging. Luckily, there's no tongue involved, which is good. You know, so for me, that's a sign of a management team that backs each other.
Brett Burns, there was a lot being said. Johan Ackerman, the new man at Loftus. A lot of people were expecting a lot of things from him. Start of the season, a little bit shaky, but slowly but surely, just like JP Peterson at the Sharks, there's a great sense of belief, change in management as well. Is he the man to bring glory, a trophy, to Loftus Versfeld?
I agree with most of what you said.
But
However, I think he's a good coach. I don't see him as a great coach. I struggle to believe that he can bring trophies because he hasn't brought a trophy anywhere he's been. I don't think, maybe he needs to be one of those good bosses that gets great management under him. That is good at delegating between who works under him.
Yeah.
Because currently I think he's taking on a role that I want to do everything. I want to be the best coach, but he's not a Rassie Erasmus. He can't make those rational decisions that are going to be risky or whatever. It's play it safe. I don't know. Something doesn't sit well with Johan Ackerman for me. I mean, to get rid of a coach that's taken the Brumbies to a final. He's taken a struggling Brumbies to the Super Rugby final. Won a World Cup with the Springboks. To get rid of that guy for somebody that's won nothing, that just blows my mind. So that's my thought on the matter.
And it's a fair comparison. However, I think one thing we need to understand as well, being risky is almost easier for a guy like Rassie. Ask me why. Great question.
Explain.
Great question. So Rassie's got a shorter time frame with a group. It's not a long season.
Yeah.
So Rassie's decision making has got to be more instant and more spontaneous on the spot. There's no time for second chances. There's no time for let's redo. There's a plan. Everyone's got to back into the plan. Everyone's got to align. And also, let's face it, the group that Rassie manages on a weekly basis, it's let's say 35. That's in the camp daily. For a URC coach, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a longer season.
Fact.
You need to manage under 21s because they think they're good enough to play in your team. You need to manage the second team that's part of your training session. You know, he's there. You can see he's doing well, but he's not really good enough to start. And he thinks he's good enough to start. Then you've got to manage the player that comes back from injury, who thinks he is back from injury, he's got to run next week. Then you've got to manage the Springbok squad. Then you've got to manage the URC, plus the Investec Cup, plus the Currie Cup.
Plus the Under-23 Cup coming.
Plus the Under-23 Cup. So do you see how the dynamics all of a sudden change? And yes, Rassie's done well, but the moving part is a little bit less than for URC coach. Now, on your point of not winning, it's a difficult situation because do we measure winning only on trophies, or do we measure winning on teams having to change around? Or you can see there's a culture in change.
Depends who's asking.
Yeah. I think
Hence, I'm throwing it on the table. Because you can look at, let's say, Peter de Villiers. He's not won a World Cup, but he's one of the successful coaches. He's won key tournaments, but he's never won a World Cup. So do we say he's a average coach? Do we say he's a bad coach?
I think for me, the way that I view Johan Ackerman, like the lens that I'm viewing him through, right?
Yep.
Let me put it that way, is the Bulls have made 3 of the last 4 URC finals, right? And when Jake White was let go, it was a thing of, okay, cool. The locker room almost were against him and he was being kind of forced out, right? So I'm looking at it as a fan because the people in Pretoria are saying that we want to win this competition. We've been so close to winning this competition.
Yep.
I'm asking, is Johan Ackerman the man for the job? Is he going to deliver those trophies? Because isn't that how we measure the success of a franchise?
Hence, I pose the question again. How do we measure success? By trophies or by there's a change of culture? Or do we see development coming through? Or do we see, let's say there's some good stuff that, and I think the bottom line is probably that, we as South Africans, we want to see trophies.
Yeah.
But
The Springboks wouldn't be the Springboks if they didn't necessarily go back to back.
I guess so.
At the Rugby World Cup. And that's the Webb Ellis Trophy.
Yeah.
So, is he
Yeah.
going to win, John? No.
And look, it's his first season.
Yeah.
It's his first season, and when they took over, there was a lot of stuff that happened behind closed doors. The coaching or the management, that kind of, let me not say that, kind of did their thing.
What's scary story?
You know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting conversation. I do think he's got the skill set to make the players believe that they can actually win this tournament because they tasted it. They know what it takes. Because ultimately, if they didn't buy into his vision and they didn't buy into where he wants to move, they wouldn't have been able to turn things around the last 2 weeks. My opinion.
Does he need time? Do we say that this is his warm-up season and then next season he goes for the trophy?
Any coach needs that. But a coach also wants to get that trophy now. I promise you. If you speak to him now, he wants a trophy now.
Jake White's first season he won the Rainbow Cup. Second season he played a URC final. Third season he played a URC final. Fourth season he almost made a final, and fifth season he made a URC final. So these are the investors. That's what they want to see. So that's why I'm so shocked that they let the man go. You signed players like Andre Pollard back. You signed a Saad Fontaine back. You signed all these players back to the Bulls. That would have been, for me, the deciding factor whether Jake White was going to cross that hurdle, because now he has senior, experienced players coming
World Cup
into
winners,
his World Cup winners, coming into his setup that could potentially get him over the line. And now you change the whole structure. You bring these new players in that are experienced, but you got a brand new coach. The coach doesn't sit well with a support staff, so now you change that. Everything in 1 year. That's why I'm confused by this the strategy that the Bulls took in order with their coaches and all that stuff. So it's weird for me.
But then there was also, this bird singing that it was the players and Jake White staff that didn't buy into how we handled the locker room.
I get that, but do you really care how things are being handled by your coach if you're winning games? If you're reaching finals?
You do.
So you'd rather sit with a coach, be 12th on the log, lose everything because you like the coach, or than not like the coach and play in finals. I don't care about my coach if I'm winning finals. If I'm becoming a better player, I'm getting more recognition. I'm playing when everyone's at home, I'm playing in finals. They're watching the final on TV. I wouldn't care anything. I wouldn't care less about.
You wouldn't give a damn.
not even in the slightest. I think it's a bunch of crybabies. That's what's happening in New Zealand with Adi Savia. Crybaby, let's fire the coach.
Yep.
That's just. I think it's piss poor form. Sorry.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Get him on a squad.
It's a fine balance. It's a fine balance because you also want your players to rock up at the stadium, at your team, at the campus, wanting to be there. We're dealing with grown ass men here.
Human beings.
We're human beings. I'm not saying that players must, and again, I wrote a massive article about it. Players must have the final say in terms of the coach. But what I am saying, there's got to be this environment where players want to be there. They have to be. even because I promise you, any player doesn't mind being a coach or having a coach as hard on them. They don't want, rubbing my back all the time, tell me how good they are, a professional player. But there's also got to be that fine line in terms of respect and, creating the right culture. Let's go back to Russia again. I promise you, everyone knows there's a certain expectation. There's a certain way you gotta handle yourself and carry yourself, which is okay. And if you don't, you just don't fit into whatever the team is trying to create. But when we care, we care. When it's work time, it's work time. And that for me is almost the kind of team environment that I like, rather than someone just saying, listen, it's my way and you got to be this and this. And I've worked under coaches like that. John Mitchell at the Lions. I've worked on him, and it's horrible. It's horrible. The Friday when you finish up, you're already starting to stress about the Monday when you have to go back. And that's how bad it is. I mean, I've seen grown men with kids cry.
Lead with stuff like that so we can understand.
Because players, they feel, listen, this is my job, and I'm being treated like a kid here, or disrespected massively. So I've seen both sides of the coin, and I lean towards the side of saying, create the right culture, but drive standards. That's where I am.
Gentlemen, let's make a little bit of money with Sports Pesa. We've spoken about Johan Ackerman. We've spoken about JP. Everything to play for heading into this game for both these teams. Coach Jono, talk to me about the winning margin. You said that the Sharks will lose. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that the Sharks will lose. Give me the winning margin. And I'll tell you what the Sports Pesa app says.
I didn't say it as harshly as you did.
No, I'm just emphasizing.
But I'm going to go. Listen to this. I'm going to go with the Bulls. See the difference there? I'm going to go with the Bulls. The Bulls will win this match by 20 points. 20 points.
Wow. Okay. Home team by more than 14 points. You said 20 points.
Yeah.
It gives you 2.18. Meaning that if we put down 100 Rand, you make 218 Rand.
Cool.
Brett Burns, rugby's know-it-all.
So if I put on 1,000 Rand, which I might borrow from someone.
I don't know. The question is he willing to borrow the money to you?
I got it for free, so sure.
Brett Burns, where you at? Where you at with this game?
So I'm not as optimistic as Jonathan, but I think it's going to be 20 points to 27, a 7-point game.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's my score. I'm saying 20 points to 27.
To the Bulls.
To the Bulls.
To the Bulls.
To the Bulls.
All right, Brett Burns. Okay. Better winning odds for you. So if the home team, the Bulls, win by 1 to 7 points, according to the Sport Pesa app, you make 4.6. Meaning that if you put down 100 Rand, you make 460 Rand. Solid payday, gentlemen. You guys are happy with that?
Happy.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the exciting Varsity Cup 2026 edition, brought to you proudly by F&B, Sport Pesa, Steers, as well as Suzuki. Coach Jonathan Mukwena, I know that you've been doing some work with this brilliant competition.
Yeah.
We also know that this is a man who's won the competition back in the days with Pika as well. Have you enjoyed it? Because we had a brilliant time with the Sports Pesa Matchday experience out at the Donny Craven Stadium. It was my first time there.
No way.
I was incredibly excited. I
Okay.
mean, I'm a Tux boy, so when I went there,
Same.
everyone is saying that the vibe is a little bit different.
it is
It's
different.
better than Tux.
Yeah.
I mean, I say the view is different. The vibe, I mean, it's a 9 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10 like a Tux. But for you, your experience of this competition, having won the competition, now working on the competition, how has it been? And especially the great talent that we are seeing in the 2026 edition of the F&B Varsity Cup.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I think I've seen some great tries, and I love when the players have a go. Chucking the ball around, and also this is the competitiveness. Whoa. Oh man! I think all games actually, the last 2 rounds has been good. I must say I thoroughly enjoyed the UJ Marty's one. The previous week, the Tuks UCT one was actually quite nice for me as well. So some really, really good rugby. Really, really good. And also the side shows, people singing and, mama die geld nie, it's just, it's I think Varsity Cup has really struck gold in terms of on the days that they actually, televise. Because on Monday night, there's nothing happening. No other sports. And then you get home and you kick off your shoes off and you see your daughter, on the TV, which is good. Just brilliant.
My favorite is those signs that the ladies hold up and the gents hold up that says, my parents think I'm studying, but I'm at the rugby. And we all know what happens after that.
Yeah.
Brett Burns, I'd like to bring you in with this Marties game. We spoke about the fact that Marties are a little bit bruised heading into the season. They lost the final last year, started off the competition, losing to Shimla at Shimla Park. They had a lot to prove in this encounter, but at least in terms of the game that I saw, UJ had the slight upper hand in the beginning of the game, and surprise, surprise, Marties did what they do best at the Donny Craven Stadium.
Yeah, I was disappointed in UJ because I felt like for the first 62 minutes, and I specifically saw the time when it all just shifted, UJ was the better side.
Yeah.
Like, they were playing good rugby. It was clinical. It was clean. It was well thought out moves, and it just looked good to watch. And then all of a sudden the wheels came off, and there goes Marty, makes the game look like it was an easy win for Marty's. And I didn't feel that UJ deserved to lose that game, let alone by that much. So that's also what's exciting about Varsity Cup, is because
You don't know.
you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to shine a spotlight on is this new Sport Pesa tap or kick rule. Before the competition started, Brett Burns, you mentioned that you will see a few teams actually having a few brain farts, not knowing what to do, not knowing what calls to make. I spent some time at the Donny Craven Stadium with Morgan as well as Ezekiel, the captain of the Marty's team. And they spoke about you have to know when to use this rule.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I noticed is that a lot of teams aren't necessarily using it because the other teams are a lot stronger defensively.
Yeah.
So you find yourself in a situation where you've put in all your energy, all your effort to get the first try.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to risk it again and have 2 minutes on the clock to score another try. Your thoughts, Jono, because we haven't gotten your thoughts so far on this new rule. What do you think of it? What do you make of it? Does it add to the game? Does it take away from the game? Because the one thing I can tell you is that the fans absolutely love it. We were in the stands, and once the music starts playing, we know that the 2 minutes is on the clock. All of a sudden, the fans are up. We're looking at what's happening. It does bring a great sense of excitement to the game. But in terms of the rugby, does it make things a little bit more challenging?
No. I think I like it. I love it. And big ups to Sport Pesa for sponsoring it and owning it. Well done. Making it count. Happy days. Putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I genuinely love it. I think there's some good innovations that we're going to still see coming to the forefront over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, teams are kind of just feeling each other out and not sure when to really call it. And again, it's got to be that fine balance of understanding when the defensive team has given up and when to have a go again. Because we also seen, especially the Picker Emiratis match last week, where the Pick called it. But then every single time they got turned over from the number 8. So you almost got to be clear and precise. And then the other thing is, the team's conditioning. They've got to ensure that, for that 2 minutes, they've got to lift the intensity and ensure that they apply a lot of pressure on the defensive team. I think the team where there's actually more opportunities against is the Marties. And I'll tell you why. I don't know whether you noticed last week, and it's something I would have probably done. So their in-goal is bigger than most other universities' in-goal. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They're one of the teams with the bigger in-goals. So I would have maybe come up with a plan around that to maybe launch a bomb.
I love where this is going.
Inside that in-goal area. Because what I'm seeing is that all teams only leave their fullback at the back with 14 up front because they want to defend. Teams won't kick do the cross kick, but there's opportunities to maybe launch a up and under cross kick rather than just an up and under in the middle of the field, because your 15 will be able to cover that. So maybe there's a few plans that teams can actually come up with around that, which I probably would have done, but I'm not there, so don't buy it. But they could have, they could have. I think there's a few opportunities where teams can maybe think outside the box.
I
Definitely.
love that. I love
Coach Jono.
Yeah.
That's why we call this man the coach on this show.
Yeah.
I didn't spot that. I also want to talk about Ezekiel quickly.
Yeah.
He's a player that everyone is watching quite closely, right? He's already signed to the Western Province. And I've spoken to him twice. And he's cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
But when you watch him closely, there's a great sense of pressure that he's feeling. He makes great plays, but I want to hear from you as a coach. How do you manage a player like that? Because he was basically player of the season last season. He comes into this season with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Everyone is watching him. I mean, I saw the man just walk through the stands and everyone stands up and they're clapping for him. But how does a player manage that? Because he still has to perform on the field.
Let me say this. Last year, it was easier for him to perform the way he did. Ask me why. Great question. The reason is they had a massive pack last year that could maul, that could scrum, and that always gave him that front foot ball. This year, I don't think Marty's the same. I don't think Marty's the same. I didn't see them dominate UJ last week. They probably did it once or twice. But with a proper maul, I don't think so. Last year, they were one of the teams that scored from anywhere. They had a 4-man line-out, and then they mauled for penalty, kick you for touch again, and then they bring in a full-on, maul from there. So I think he's got to understand that his team profile this year is different. So he shouldn't force things. Create, and then wait for your opportunity to have a go.
Brett Burns, let's quickly look at the teams that are currently at the top of the log. We spoke about this before the season even started. 2 rounds in, 2 victories for Tuks and for the Northwest University Eagles, Pucker, as some call them. Are these the 2 teams to watch in your opinion? Or can we see a few dark horses? I said UJ could be a dark horse. Marty's is a name that you can't ignore when it comes to this competition. Where's your head at?
Well, my opinion has changed from last week because I think this Tik side I think they finding very good form at great times, and they for me they looked like the most professional unit in the whole Varsity Cup. Like it's beautiful to watch. I love it. So I'm saying that this is Tik's competition to lose.
Tik's competition to lose.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, so
I love that. Ducks of Nucks, baby. Ducks of Nucks. That's all I'm saying. That brings us to the end of Omni Rugby. Now, just a quick update in terms of round number 3 of this incredibly special competition, the 2026 F&B Varsity Cup. The first game at 4:45 is UJ taking on the Northwest University Eagles. Now, the one thing that you can do is you can win your share of 15 free tickets that will be given away by SportsPesa. Make sure that you comment down below with the hashtag #RugbyThatRocks and make it count. In terms of the SportsPesa matchday experience, Jonathan Mukwena, of course, he's working on the games, but the other Mukwena, George Mukwena, he'll be at UJ, taking you through all the actions. Make sure that you find the man, grab a few selfies, and also have a good time. In terms of where I will be, we are heading all the way to Bloem for a big derby. It is CUT taking on Shimlas. At CUT, it's about to be a big one. Now, that's how we come to the end of Omni Rugby for this edition. And of course, we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye. How many times are you still going to say SportsPesa?
Did I say sports?
The whole time.
It's fine.
Okay, so this is me. I'm getting my money from Aaron. He made it rain. I just win bets.